Well, welcome back, homesteaders. This is Jay with Collin Hills Homestead, and I want to give you a follow-up video in addition to video for our quail feeding do's and don'ts. That video alone, it could run a little long, and since then I've had a lot of questions from the community, from Facebook, YouTube, and out at the feed store. So we're going to start off by talking about fodder. Okay, it is true. I mean, if you're looking around the internet and you can see fodder has become a big thing here lately. What is fodder? Well, fodder is natural grown food that you give your birds. Well, sprouted seeds have become known now as fodder. So we're talking about sprouted seeds. Sprouted seeds can, at a certain day, become as high in protein or even higher than the actual grain. Now, some of the questions will come in of, well, they're saying, you give me 1 pound of grain, 1 pound of seed could potentially make 7 or 8 pounds of feed. Yes, it can. And that feed is going to be very good for whatever you're feeding. Whether it's cows, chickens, quail. My instance, in my case, it's going to be quail. But I'm glad I'm feeding a small animal because it really saves me more money than it would somebody with a large animal. So, money savings on your quail? About like this. Health benefits of your quail? Enormous. Weight of the fodder? A lot of it is water. But one thing I want to make sure you understand is you cannot completely take care of feeding your quail with fodder. Quail are wild game birds. They have to have seeds. They have to have that for their diet. Or they have to have certain amounts of commercial feed that have those nutrients in them. You will not get it with fodder alone. Grit is something, somebody asked me about this the other day. It's not like a chicken. Quail get everything they need in that commercial feed. Unless they're eating raw seeds, unless you're feeding your quail raw seeds, it's not a real reason for them to have grit. Calcium for egg production, yeah. We talked about in the last video a process of scrambling the eggs, taking the quail eggs, putting them on a baking sheet, baking them, taking them out, crushing it all up, mixing it together, feeding it back to your birds. Wonderful protein and gives them the calcium, and that's a great way to go. Let me give you another alternative. Probably a little simpler. Hard boil those eggs that you have left over or that have reached that date that you don't need. Hard boil those eggs, let them set, let them dry completely. Either mash those eggs or put them in a blender and blend them and feed them to your quail. It saves a little, it's a little hassle to do it the other way. I like baking them because it made the shells a little more brittle and I thought easier. But I've tried it this other way since hearing somebody else talk about it, boiling them and just mashing them up. Hey, it's a lot simpler. It's a lot easier, save me some time. They're still getting the same benefit, okay? So rice, pastas, leftover noodles, those are things that your quail are going to really love. They're going to enjoy. Breads, pastries, they love those things. So if you want to give those things as treats, go for it. Squash, zucchini, berries, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, doesn't matter. They love that stuff. And you want healthy quail to give you healthy eggs, feed them right. Keep everything clean. Keep the water changed out. So I put apple cider vinegar in the water for my quail. I use about a teaspoon a gallon. I have 3-gallon waterers on each tank. So apple cider vinegar in the raw or the mother, that is a very good probiotic for your bird's gut. Okay? Oregano, thyme, sage. You know, those things are cheap if you go to the dollar store or Dollar General. Those spices, those herbs are very cheap. And if you just give them in a minute amount, sprinkled in their food, that helps boost their immune system. That's just 3 that I'm giving you. Okay? So, remember, feed your birds well, keep everything clean, fresh water. Fodder, I want to talk to you real quickly. Let's go back to fodder. So, here is some fodder that I have. It's beautiful. Sorghum, milo. Same difference. Some people call it sorghum. Grows thick, plush, gives a good root mat. Okay? This, they're going to love. They're going to enjoy. You can get this. This right here is about 1 inch taller than I would normally grow it. This is about 9 days. Could be stretching, could be 10. But normally I'll harvest about 8 days, sometimes even 7. We'll flip this over. I'll get my pocket knife out. We'll cut sections out. I'll put it in my trays. But this is sorghum. And I wanted to show you the trays, guys. I don't know if you see this, can see this well. This is Chick-fil-A. Thank you, Chick-fil-A. Thank you. This is a repurposed Chick-fil-A tray. Okay? There's another one. It doesn't cost very much to feed your birds great. Okay? So, this is sorghum. This is wheat. And this is a couple days larger or longer in the tooth than I would normally let it grow. But this is wheatgrass. This is your wheat. And there's a big pretty mat up under there, and they're going to eat every bit of it. They're going to eat it from the roots up. They're going to eat everything they can get their little beaks on. And they love it. And they love it. So, if you want to build a fodder system, which I have, and that's really kind of not what I'm talking about or where I'm going today. We're just talking about fodder and letting you know it's not going to solve your problems when it comes to quail. Now, you can get away with it with some other animals, but not poultry. Not completely. Now, if you want to build your fodder system, these 10-20 trays are awesome. Okay? This is going to give you a bigger tray. And when you look up your fodder systems, which I'll probably come out with a video later, the object is you're going to have to water this at least twice a day, preferably 3, but at least twice a day. A lot of people will get a break real quickly to make this simple and cheap, a baker's rack, and they will buy these, and they will set up a container on the bottom from the dollar store, and they will buy a water pump. Needs to pump about 800 gallons a minute is what it's going to be verified at to get up to about the 5-6 foot level to be able to do this automatically. Set it on a timer 2-3 times a day. You get these, you drill holes here in the bottom. You set this up at this angle. The idea is that the water comes in, drains out here, falls into your next 10-20 tray that is angled this way. That falls into your next. That falls into your next. Get the idea? You can look that up. There's a lot of instructional videos out there. I'll put one out later on. But it is a good system. It does have to be a little climate controlled, especially since I'm here in East Texas where it gets hot. Like amazing hot. I'm not talking about on the East Coast right now where they say, you know, they're going through this heat wave where it's 88 to 92. 92? Wow. I wish that was hot here. I wish that was just out here, because we look at 102, 104, heat index 110, humidity of 60, while all that's going on. Okay, I know I'm all over the place, but we talked about fodder, and I have more to give you on that. If you got questions, please ask below. And that video that I was telling you about, the quail feeding do's and don'ts, I'm going to put a description. I'm going to put a link to that, a link to that below in the description for you, so that you can watch that video. You can compare it, get your notes, know what you need to do for your quail, how to feed them, how to water them, what to feed them, what protein percentages. The first video went through all that for you. I just got a piece of mail today. I want to show it to you. I use a lot of Wynola ranch cages. My video is not my channel is not sponsored, but I will say that I'm very proud to use Wynola cages. They're awesome. So a lot of my cages, by saying that, Wynola, they are fed by troughs along the front. Okay? The cages that I build, however, I will always, more than likely, use a J feeder. And it's very hard to find a J feeder, if you know what those are. You can see that shaped like a J. It's very hard to find a J feeder with a solid bottom. You go to your feed stores and they have netting, wire netting right here. And because it's for rabbitry, it's for rabbits. And it's very hard, for me at least, where I'm at, I cannot find these feeders. So I just got this one in the mail. And like I said, and this place is not sponsoring me at all. I got this on Amazon from Pet Lodge. Okay, so Pet Lodge. Looks like a very good sturdy feeder. I'm going to cut a hole in the side. I'm going to put this in and don't have to worry about my feed falling out. I'm going to put some wire across the top of this to where they can't shake those little heads when they go in, because that's where they get spillage. All right? So, be bringing more to you soon. I want to thank you very much for visiting the channel. Like, subscribe, share. That's what we're looking for, so we can bring more content to you. Gardens, I hope yours is going well. Mine's keeping me very busy. God willing, we're going to continue to get this weather that keeps providing these beautiful vegetables, and we'll support the family through the winter and beyond. Thank you, homesteaders. We'll see you soon.